Hello there, guys, and welcome back to my channel for the player ratings of Liverpool nil, Chelsea 1. And honestly, I could not be any happier today. I could not be any happier. Everything was perfect. I know we didn't score 2, 3, 4 goals. I don't care. I don't care. We scored a beautiful goal. We made them look like mugs. Jurgen Klopp's over there crying. You know, Mendy was so not busy at all. He went for a cake break just to get some leftovers from his birthday cake a couple of days ago. Like, we just annihilated them. I don't care how dreadful their form has been. I don't care. We just bossed them, and they did nothing. Not a single shot on target for 84 minutes. Nah, it's great. It's great. And to make things even better, first of all, Mr. CFC Pice has returned. Obviously, missed out last time. Hope everything's okay. But he has returned today, and I'm pretty sure everybody is in a great mood today.
Yes, boys, I'm back. I'm glad to be back on the channel. I'm very, very happy. Obviously, after this win, a Tuchel masterclass. Honestly, I think it was a fantastic performance. As Laurenz said, we didn't score 2, 3, 4 goals, but like that game was just brilliant. We played some brilliant football. Probably could have had more, you know. The Werner offside goal was very debatable. Ziyech had one cleared off the line. You know, we had multiple chances. Some through balls that didn't quite go through, but we're nearly there. But honestly, like I'm just gassed. Honestly, I'm so excited, so happy. 10 wins, 10 matches unbeaten. Like it's crazy. Tuchel's impact he's had on this team and this club is amazing. I just wish the fans were there. Honestly, like that's the only thing I wish.
Honestly, although I'd be so jealous for not being there, so I'm not even too upset. But not only are we joined by Mr. CFC Pies, who of course just said hello, we're also joined by a new guest on this channel, a good friend of mine from the Americas, half American, half Iranian, whatever you want to be themed as, Mr. Shayan, part of the Next Gen podcast. I hope I didn't butcher that. Welcome. How are you, my bro?
Dude, I'm buzzing. Today's a good day in the office, as we like to say. I'm super happy. You know, you think about the golden eras of Chelsea going to Anfield and making those Liverpool fans, the Merseyside fans, quake in their boots. And today we did, as Bleacher Report posted today, it was an easy win. Not even a problem one bit. Liverpool, they didn't turn up. Chelsea did. Easy peasy. Looks like they're playing Europa League while we be playing Champions League. How as they say in the office, how the turntables turn. Like, it's super easy.
Exactly. That's exactly it. The fact that Liverpool are 7th right now, and I just saw a stat earlier. I think this time last season they had like 76 points, and now they have 43. Like, what a drop that is. But I don't want to make it too much about Liverpool. Like, there's teams I hate a lot more than Liverpool, so let's not make it too much about that. Let's make it about praising what our boys have done today. Whether it's Thomas Tuchel, whether it's the entire team, other than maybe Hakim Ziyech, we'll talk about that one. But honestly, that was brilliant. Like, that was brilliant. When I saw the lineup, and we'll get to that actually right now. When I saw the lineup, I was like, ooh, I'm not sure. What is this? What are we going to do with this? I was unsure. Just to everyone that maybe, kind of forgot or whatever. Bit weird if that is the case, but Anyways, this is the lineup we went with. Let me go with you first, Cheyenne. What did you think when you saw the lineup released?
Yeah, I mean, I think you say it best, Lawrence. It seemed bizarre at first, but it kind of makes sense at the same time. It's kind of weird to say that, but because, we have a lot of big games coming up. We got to think in the back of our heads, even though it's not necessarily a good thing in football to always think about games ahead. But at the same time, he's trying to think of rotation as well. This is a depthy squad. We have Everton again. We have Atletico Madrid again. We have I think we have Leeds again at some point. I don't know the exact schedule, but a lot of hard fixtures coming up for Chelsea. So it's good to rotate. And then again, people are forgetting. It seems everyone thinks Tuchel's been in the job for a season. Tuchel's been in the job for like 2 months. So he still doesn't necessarily know who fits in what position and who can be a good asset in what spot. So yes, it was a little risky, but at the same time, you could say it was a Tuchel masterclass.
Honestly, it really was. It really, really was. And, I was unsure about Kante and Jorginho starting together when it came out. I was unsure. Yeah, I was unsure about the front three. I wasn't really sure what to make of it. And like I tweeted, I don't really know what the plan is when I saw the lineup. Hey, in hindsight, it worked. And like I said, I'm excited to find out what the plan will be. And perfect. But I wasn't sure when it came out. Pice, what about you?
Well, my first immediate reaction was I saw Werner up top and I was thinking, this actually makes perfect sense because you have the high line of Liverpool. Werner getting in behind. He's very, very quick. Obviously, Werner can't do that against every team we play. In a majority of teams, like he struggles against because, as I've said before, like he's not a great dribbler. He just tries to find space. He's very quick, but against deep blocks and low blocks, it's very, very hard to do that. So, you know, I thought today made perfect sense to play him up top because there is naturally more space when you play against Liverpool. They don't change their ways. They stick with the high line. So I thought, you know, that made sense. And also, as I was looking at the front three, I saw Mason Mount. I was like, okay, yeah, makes perfect sense. He's been pretty good recently. And then I saw Ziyech. Ziyech was the only one where I thought, this is a bit interesting because for me, it's either a toss-up between Ziyech or Pulisic because he's mentioned Havertz as like a kind of like a false nine or a little bit in between. So I didn't expect Havertz to start instead of Ziyech. If anything, it would be Havertz up top. But I think that was the one where I was like, okay, it's going to be interesting because Ziyech hasn't been that good lately. So I thought that was a bit interesting. But, I mean, he didn't have the best of games. But as I said, like as I came on here, I said, you know, he had that one shot that was cleared off the line, which was going in. That was a decent strike. It was 100% going in if he wasn't there. So, I mean, he got it right. He got the lineup right, we have to say. I mean, personally, I would have liked to see Pulisic start, but I think, you know, I'm probably proven wrong because personally, I mean, we'll get onto it, but when Pulisic came on, the guy couldn't get the ball. Like, he couldn't make it stick. So, to be honest, Pulisic and Ziyech are both not in the greatest of form. So, for me right now, whoever starts, it's just kind of like, yeah, you know what? It is what it is because there's no, like, yes, he has to start apart from Mason Mount for me because he's been really good. So, I think that's what I made of the front three.
For sure. We have a first super chat today, by the way. A Fantasy PGA Tour saying can't not give a super chat on a fine night like this. I hope everyone agrees. That'd be great. Don't you dare give Angola below a 9. You know, Fantasy PGA, you know, certainly knows that I have my issues every now and again with Mr. N'Golo Kante, but not today. Don't worry, not today. I'm not sure about a 9, maybe, but you know, we'll see. We'll get there. But I appreciate the donation a lot. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this right now, be sure to subscribe. You know, we're on the road to 10K subscribers. We're getting there, you know, ever so, not slowly, but we're getting there, slowly but surely at least. So make sure you subscribe, smash the like button, helps us out massively. Become a member if you fancy it. There's a join button underneath and use the super chat function if you fancy and if you want to make sure that we do see your chat message. But, so yeah, let's just start from the back. What about Edouard Mendy? What would you say about him? Like I said already, he had so nothing to do. He could go for a break and eat a piece of cake. But still, whenever he had things to do, he was there, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, as you said, he didn't have anything to do. Took 85 minutes. It's just like, and as you said, don't get into about Liverpool, but Liverpool are up there for arguably my least favorite team in the world. I do not like them one bit. And to get a win over them in such a big game, it's amazing. And it's just such clownery that it takes them 85 minutes just to get one little soft header into the gloves of big Edouard Mendy. I mean, I understand, like, you give it 10 out of 10 for a stellar performance, but for me, you give it 10 out of 10 because he got a clean sheet. He did everything he had to do. Nothing was nervy. And you think about the game earlier on in the season when Kepa makes the mistake, those are the simple things that keepers can always mess up on because being a keeper is a mental game. I'm not a goalkeeper, but based off of keepers I've spoken to, it's all about mentality. And he had a great mentality, no fear, distills affirmation in front of his defenders, and that's what I'd say. Just give him a 10 out of 10. I think he's brilliant.
I mean, all right. I'm not sure I quite agree with a 10 out of 10, but hey, I see the sentiment. Yeah, like I can't even disagree massively because whenever he was needed to come out of his goal, whether it was come out far or whether it was come out surely to make sure that any over the top balls don't hurt us, he dealt with it. The only real moment where he could have been in serious trouble was obviously the cross from Firmino late on when Chilwell kind of, was deflected it, but then got up and kicked it away straight away. Big up to him, by the way. And then obviously the Mane moment where Mane just missed the ball because otherwise they'd probably go 1-0 up at the time because that was straight after our goal was disallowed. But other than that, he had nothing to do. Even his passing was pretty good most of the time. He seemed composed. He seemed calm. I would go for something like an 8 because I feel like you still need to make saves to get a 10. It's like,
sure.
An
but he did.
player.
He caught that ball. You see the catch on that. It was brilliant. That's an insane, superb save.
He didn't let it go. I get you. He didn't let it go. Fair. Pies, what about you? Are you going as crazy as a 10 or more like the 7, 8, 9 direction?
Like, to be honest, like I'd love to give pretty much everyone a 10 across the board, pretty much, like most players anyway. But I think obviously we have to be a little bit more relaxed just for the sake of like, trying to have a balanced rating debate. So I think I do agree. I think 8, to be honest, because obviously he didn't have many saves to make. But one thing I noticed is very, very quick coming off the line and very comfortable as well. And from the corners as well, I wasn't ever worried or anything. When Kepa's in goal, I do worry from corner situations. But Mendy's just so confident and so relaxed. Like, I think the one thing about Mendy, which I'm like a little bit concerned with, is on the ball. He seems a little bit shaky. Obviously, that's the only like area which Kepa is better at. But I mean, in terms of an all-round performance, I think he was pretty good today. I would give him an 8 or an 8.5. To be fair, I'm open to which. Probably an 8, I think.
Pete, you said 8 or 8.5, even though obviously you said more of an 8. But we have to be fair here. It's a team effort to give these ratings, and hey, Shayan was.
No, it's okay. I'll give an 8.
No. I'm not going crazy. I'm just going to give him the 8.5 because hey, I'm in a good mood. I'm in a good mood. I'm just trying to type out the rest of the subs before I have it, hover across the bottom, the whole ratings that we're putting out. Just 1 second. And now I just need to add the Mendy 8.5. And now you guys can see it as well. Brilliant. There we are. Ladies and gentlemen,
I like this. It's right under us, too. This is quite fancy.
Exactly. And see, for the time being, it's all question marks. But when it comes back to him, Mendy already has the 8.5. So we move. It's a good time. And next, we talk to one of the brilliant back three that has been monstrous for Chelsea ever since Thomas Tuchel has taken over. I mean, 10 games in, we've conceded 2 goals. One of them we scored ourselves. So you can't honestly ask for much more. These lot are amazing. I know we want to score more goals, but at the end of the day, if we get 11 more 1-0s, we're still definitely going to make top 4. So, Hey, I'll bloody take it. So let's go with Aspie first. And let me go with CFC Pies first. Maybe not quite as outrageously good as Christensen and Rudiger today, but still very good.
Yeah, I think was pretty solid. I mean, all the back three were pretty solid, to be fair. I mean, I definitely give Christensen the highest rating.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I'm open to debate for the other two, to be fair. What do you guys think? Because I'm a bit like, I'm not sure. They're all really solid, but I think it all depends on Christensen's rating, doesn't it? Like, what do we give him first, I think? And then we can base it off that.
All right. That is fair. Let's go with Christensen first. So give me your rating for Christensen straight away. Go on.
Christensen was a 10. Absolutely.
I agree.
I'm going with 10. Man of the match, Sky Sports, unreal on the ball. Like, this guy, I tweeted out, like, I always knew he had the potential. Like, he's always been a very, very good player, but he's just had inconsistent patches all the time. Like, be in the team, out the team, do really well for 3 or 4 matches, then get out the team, never come back in for like 2 months. It's been all over the place. And sometimes it is his fault because he makes mistakes. Sometimes it isn't. Like, and it'll be interesting to see when Silva comes back because, does he drop Rudiger? Does he drop Christensen? I'd hate to be Tuchel right now. But I think for now, if we're just talking about today, Christensen was a 10. Like, he was outstanding, honestly.
Yeah, no, he was. Like I said, obviously, Shayan looked somewhat surprised that we were actually considering a 10 rather than a little bit of a jokey one for Mendy. No, seriously, like, I don't think, what more can you do? Especially that one moment when the cross was coming in, he wasn't quite in the box yet. And he just storms in and comes in like this stormtrooper and just clears it. It's like, what are you going to do about it?
Stormtrooper.
It's like, exactly. Like, but not just a single stormtrooper, which always looks silly because they shoot around a million times and they've never hit anybody. But he looks like one of those good stormtroopers that would actually shoot someone and hit. And he just came storming in and was like, yeah, what you going to do about it? And I'm going to bring it up. Lewis ain't even here. I don't care. I'm going to bring it up. Has the penitentiary increased? Has it? Yes, it bloody has. There you go. The penitentiary is up and running.
I actually posted this on my page as well because I think it's amazing.
There you go. Honestly, it's the best thing I've ever seen. It's filling up. Honestly, Lewis is going to have to make a bigger penitentiary because the amount of players that are finding themselves in there is insane. Like, honestly, I agree with the 10, but Shayan, give me yours.
I was going to say a 9.5 because I was going to save an actual legitimate 10 for somebody special that we all love deep and dear into our hearts. So I'd say 9.5 because he's not the man of the match for me.
Okay, see, obviously he got the official man of the match. A lot of people are saying him for man of the match. For me, it's also a debate between him and Mount. I was just gonna give out 2 10s. I was just gonna be that.
I mean, we could go with the 10 too. I'm fine with that.
Exactly. Hey, why hesitate? Why be scared to hand out the 10s? I don't care. Like,
10 to you, 10 to you. 10 for everyone.
Exactly. I've had a great night. Him and Mount were part of the reason why I've had a great night. So I'm gonna give them the 10. I'm gonna give them the 10. And to calm things down for you, Pice, back to Aspie. What would you give Aspie then? Because we already gave Mendy an 8.5. I think to only give Christensen a 9.5 when Mendy actually didn't have anything to do. I think we kind of had to give Christensen a 10.
Yeah. Again, it's hard. I mean, would you go like 9 for Aspie, 8.5? Like, it's got to be really up there because he was really solid. I think he was good on the ball. I mean, a couple of times in the first half, he did get caught out from Mane and down that side with Reece James. But I think overall, very, very solid performance. And that's what I've been saying like pretty much every week about Aspie in the back three. He's like been really, really solid. So again, I mean, I'm torn between an 8.5 and a 9. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah. I'm stuck in 2 minds. First of all, big up Rajib for the donation. I'm saying agree back 3 was solid. Felt like FIFA over again. Don't know what you're trying to tell me with that, but I appreciate the donation regardless. Flyers has made a point here. Let me just go find it again. That when Mane obviously had that one big chance that Liverpool had, even though it didn't lead to a shot on target in the end, it was Aspie's man. So that has to take him down. I would probably, for that, otherwise I would have said 9, and I think that takes it down to an 8.5. Do we think that's fair or do we think that's harsh? Cheyenne, tell me.
I was thinking we give as much as he's the man on the back of the shirt, and I think every day Aspie plays is a day I'm happier, and I always give him a 10 regardless. I'd say give him an 8 and then give Rudiger an 8.5 because I think they were like tiers above below because I don't think Rudiger was necessarily a 9 because there were moments of lapses within Rudiger, but that's kind of what you expect out of him. Luckily, nothing serious, but Aspie was a little bit tier below all of them, not because he was that bad, but yes, he wasn't quite on par with the other lads. So I'd say an 8 and then an 8.5 for Rudiger.
Yeah. It's a difficult one. I definitely get where you're coming from with that. I will get to your question in a second, Charles, by the way. I see what you're saying. I think Aspie 8.5 is fair. I would push Rudiger for a 9 because I know he had 1 or 2 moments where he maybe should have been a tiny bit better. But hey, maybe without those moments, he would have had a 10 as well. You never know. I think none of them can be lower than an 8. Or if we give Aspie an 8, I think Mendy has to be lower than an 8.5 as well. I have to be so free because again, Mendy didn't have anything to do realistically. Yeah, but come on. you know what I'm going to do.
I agree.
All right, so Aspie 8.5 then, and Pice. Let me just go to you straight back with this. Would you then be okay with giving Rudiger a 9?
Yeah, to be fair, I think Rudiger probably was a bit more. I'd say just a little bit better because obviously, as one of the comments mentioned as well, as I mentioned, he did get caught out that one time. So I think we have to knock Aspie's rating just slightly by 0.5 because of that. Because on another day, Mane scores. That's a completely different game. I know he didn't score, of course, but still, he left the space open. So, we're being harsh, but we're also trying to be really nice. So I think Rudiger as a 9 would be good, and then just knock Aspie down just a little bit. But again, not being negative, he was still really solid today.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think that's fair. And yeah, maybe we're slightly overrating all of them. I don't care. I'll get to Charles's question. Laurenz, which team do you most dislike? Well, Spurs, first and foremost. And then you have, in Europe, Leipzig, PSG, those two. Red Bull Salzburg, obviously. And then we get to Austrian rivalries, but that is a different scale, kind of. It's just my little Austrian second division team rivalries. They are a separate thing. But yeah, Spurs, Leipzig, PSG, probably them ones. And I know that's where we got Tuchel from, but I'm glad he's not there anymore. Any which way. Let's continue. Rajib, Do appreciate the donation. I am really sorry, bro, but we already have 2 people. It's super late. This will go so long if we have 4 people on. Let me know. Message me next time before the game if you want to come on, and I'll try to make that happen. But I really do appreciate another donation. And I think next, because it was more of a back 5 today, before getting to the double pivot, let's get to the wide players. Let's get to Reece James and let's get to Ben Chilwell, who I think both did a stellar job. In particular, Chilwell, maybe almost as stellar as the back 3. Maybe James not quite so much. Maybe you guys disagree, but I thought Chilwell was particularly brilliant. James was just very good. But I still think there's not much fault that I can spill out. Really, he didn't get beaten much. He was his physical presence. He was an aerial threat more than an aerial threat in terms of defending, more so than Hudson-Odoi would have been. And he did his job. He did his job well. He attacked very aggressively against Robertson, making sure that they don't get too much freedom down the flanks. So I think he did good. I would probably, I will be very nice today, but I would say an 8. Maybe 8.5, but I would say an 8 probably. But let me go with you, Cheyenne. What did you make of Reece James today?
For me, I think Reece James was actually the worst player on the pitch today.
Worse than Ziyech, really?
Yeah. As I told you once before, as a fellow Brown man, game recognizes game. I can't discredit Ziyech a whole lot. I don't know. Maybe for me, it's just in the beginning of the game, he looks very nervous. It's not like his fault at all, really, either. It's just he looks a little nervous and unsettled in this new system. But how can you blame these players that look like that and play like that when we've chopped and changed so many times throughout this past year and a half, 2 years? It's like, it's not like it was bad, but I'd say between a 7.5 to an 8. But he was, in my eyes, the worst player on the pitch. And because at least at the end of the day with Ziyech, he did almost score, and if that wasn't cleared off the line, it's a goal, and then plus he'd be up there as one of the higher-rated players if that goes in, and it's literally just a matter of one defensive moment of brilliance.
Fair. I see that last point you're making is fair enough, but I think you're in for a shocker here when I tell you my Ziyech rating. But we'll get there later on. We'll get there later on. Let's talk through more positive things first. Like I said, I would give Reece an 8. You said 7.5 to an 8, so we're not too far off each other. But Pice, what about you?
To be honest, I don't think Reece was the worst player. I would probably agree. Even though Ziyech nearly did score, to be honest, I don't think he had much of an impact on the game.
Yeah, that was my issue, yeah.
So I just think for me, Reece probably gets a solid 8 because I'm looking at the other ratings and Rudiger got a 9, and I definitely want Chilwell as a 9. I don't think he was any worse or any better than Rudiger. I think Rudiger and Chilwell should be on par. I think noticeably in the game, Chilwell was making some very, very nice overlaps down that side. And although his final ball wasn't perfect, he did play one really obviously nice pass to, I think it was Werner in the first half. I'm not too sure, but he played someone over the top. I think it was Werner. But anyway, he did play a couple of nice passes. And I just thought he had a very, very solid performance, to be fair, which is rare for me to say because I'm not a massive fan of Chilwell, so I'm being really nice here. But yeah, I think Chilwell gets a 9, and for me, Reece would get a solid 8.
I agree on the Reece 8. I think we'll go with that then. But Cheyenne, what did you make of Chilwell? Would you think it's fair to rate him the same as Rudiger? Or would you go higher, maybe lower?
No, I 100% agree. So is it pronounced CFC? I thought it was Psy, not Pies.
Don't try it, mate. Just say POS if you want.
Okay, I apologize. The funny thing is, I've been following this guy ever since I've been on Twitter.
He did this with me as well, bro. He did this with me as well, bro. Just say, like American pie, but then you put a hard S, like pice. It's very simple to say. I don't know why he makes it so difficult. But he didn't tell me this at the start.
It's not me that makes it difficult. It's other people. They keep calling me like pies and shit like that. It's not me. It's not
hey, bro,
me.
I called you piss at the start.
Exactly. I was like, allow it. That's rude. Like, that's not me.
But yeah, I think he says it. I think PYS says it best. I think it's spot on. I think Chilwell was the better of the two, and he deserves the 9. And I completely agree.
Yeah, I mean, I would. You both said 9 now. I would even have made a case for Chile, maybe even a 9.5, because I thought he was particularly brilliant.
You're really happy with these numbers.
Hey, wait, maybe I'm giving Tuchel an 11, but yeah, let's settle for a 9 for Chilwell. I was very happy with him, and I just want to point this out. I said this on Blues Fans TV earlier already. I told you, just give him time. He's not a bad left wing back. He just needed a couple games to actually get used to playing as a left wing back. And it's not the Alonso remontada, it's the Ben bloody Chilwell remontada, and I'm gassed about it. I'm happy about it. There you go. Now, I wouldn't say Chile was amazing and worthy of a 9.5. All right, fair enough. Flyers then. I didn't see. He was very good, 9. I mean, it's not far off, 9.5, but, fair enough. Let's move on. I don't know who we should mention first. Let's go with Kante first, why don't we? Let's go with Kante first. Of course, in the end, got the assist for Mason Mount's goal, for the decisive goal. Before I go onto the hype train, let me just bring everybody down a peg. That wasn't such a great pass by Kante. He just punted the ball high and long to Mount. It's not like he played him through like Jorginho did for the Werner offside goal. That is a great ball. Werner just punted it to the left where Mount was running, and Mount had to run off his line to go and get it, control it, come back inside. It was a good ball, but like it wasn't the outrageous pass that we now have to run around claiming Kante is the best passer in the world. It was like, relax, okay? Relax. Still the assist, and that doesn't take anything away from it, but we don't need to make it sound like he's bloody, I don't know, David Beckham or Zidane now. Like, relax, right? But other than that...
He's better looking than David Beckham. We can say that much.
I'm not sure about that one, but, But anyway, each to their own, bro. Each to their own. But honestly, at the end, like, he was brilliant. Yes, he had a couple of moments where he underhit passes, which I don't like when he does. For example, the one for Reece, where Reece could have been booked early in the first half for a challenge on... Can't remember who it was, but a challenge anyway. There you go. When he had to make up for a slightly underhit Kante pass. And maybe one or two other moments where he could have, played a slightly better pass. But hey, he's still Kante, and we have to understand that's not his biggest forte. His tackling, his interceptions, his winning the ball back, his aggressiveness, his work rates, his pace, his speed today was all brilliant. Someone said earlier, don't dare give him under a 9. I would probably say 8.5. No, I give him a 9 because of the assist. But let me go with you first, Cheyenne. Would you agree? Just so you nod your head, but what would you say?
Yeah, to keep it brief, it's spot on. I think a 9's fine. 8.5, I think, is a little too harsh. I think of the two midfielders, though, I think Jorginho was the better one. So I think a 9 is fine. Because as you said, I think you say it best. The assist from Kante wasn't quite an assist compared to Jorginho's assist, which is like, I feel so bad for Jorginho. You remember the first season we had him? Like, there's like a highlight reel of him throwing Higuain and Morata on multiple occasions and then missing. And it's happened yet again for a goal that should have stood in my eyes. But I agree. I think a 9 is totally fine. I don't think anything more is really necessary or warranted.
Hey, before I get to Pice, Justice is having a go at us again. Bro, you said if we get a win, everyone gets high ratings. We got a win at Anfield, right? I'm throwing out 10s, 9s, left, right, and center. I don't care. I'm not letting anybody put me down today. I'm giving all the high ratings, other than Ziyech. But hey, we'll get to that. Maybe Cheyenne will give him a 12, and then we have to give him a 9 as well. Who knows? We'll have to see. But Pice, what would you rate Kante? Would you agree with a 9 or higher, lower? What would you say?
No, honestly, I completely agree. I think, as you mentioned, Jorginho, I think, was a tad little bit better, but Kante, for me, I think 9 is perfect because I would give Jorginho a 9.5. I just think he was a little bit better, but Kante was very, very good today. Obviously, you mentioned the pass. It wasn't amazing, but when I was thinking that, how many times do our midfielders bloody pass backwards or sideways? Kante's guilty of it sometimes as well. I was so happy to see him play the ball forward, look up, lift his head up, and just play it without no hesitation. Like, it's the attacking mindset that Tuchel wants. And if you've got one of the defensive midfielders doing that, then obviously everyone's buying into it. So I was very, very happy with Kante today. Very, very good defensively as well. Obviously, we know he can do that. A lot of interceptions, a lot of very, very good tackles, won a few fouls as well, and was very, very good under pressure, which is something that we don't associate with Kante a lot. Usually we say, and it's true, usually he does lose the ball under pressure sometimes when he's pressed, but this Liverpool team is one of the best pressing sides in the world, and they did come at us in that second half. And first half, not so much. We had the ball a bit more, but second half was mental. Like, they were really, really coming at us. So I thought Kante dealt really well with that, with the press, getting out the press. And yeah, man, he was very, very good today. And we know Kante can do this. We know he can still have top performances, but it's just a case of how many consistently can we get out of him now? You know, because 1 minute Kante's playing really well, next minute he's declining. So let's see if he gets a run in the side, and if he can pull four, 5, 6 performances together like Jorginho, like Kovacic have. So, but yeah, 9 for me, definitely.
Yeah, let's go with that 9. Let's go with that 9. I mean, it's our team said it well. The one-touch passing very regularly today was brilliant. My Jorginho rating, I love the guy. A lot of people know that. I would actually also give him a 9 because I think it was very good, but I think a 9.5 is maybe slightly stretching it because he had a not so great first 10 and then a not so great last 10 minutes of the game. And like I said, I would have probably given Kante an 8.5 and then the assist adds a 0.5. Hence why I would probably tend to give them both a 9 overall, and just Kante gets the extra 0.5 because of the assist. I think 9.5, as much as I really like Jorginho, I don't think a 9.5 is stretching it. Even on a day of all.
Clearly, you don't love him 0.5 enough. That's the disrespect.
Laurenz, can I just intervene quickly on Jorginho? Like,
go on.
Like, just to put this into perspective, obviously, like, everyone mentions like Jorginho is not the most amazing player defensively, but today he won the most tackles and the most interceptions. So, like, you know, he kind of like outperformed Kante defensively by those stats. They were both very good, but Jorginho for me was just a 0.5 above today. I think he was fantastic. I mean, 87% pass accuracy as well. Very, very good for me.
I mean, if you say it like that and you come at me with stats like that, obviously haven't really seen the stats, and I do love a stat, but I also love a bit of a mix of stat and eye test. And like I said, I do still think Jorginho underhit a couple passes and struggled for the first 10 and the last 10. And then I can't give you a 9. But hey, if both of you say 9.5, I'm overruled, then I'm gonna just go with the 9.5, innit? You know, I'm not gonna waffle around it for too long. Let's just move. Off we go. And next we move to. Now, before we get to the hype, let's get to a little bit of pegging it down a bit. Let's go to Hakim Ziyech first, who, like Pice said earlier already, he wasn't like shockingly bad. That's not what I'm trying to get at. But the first half stat of Mount having 35 touches, Timo Werner having 17 touches, and Ziyech having 10, that says enough about why I don't think he was that good. He just wasn't involved enough. And I don't care what the reasoning for that is. Get involved more. If you're meant to be one of our most creative players, get involved in the play and make sure you are. And he had another moment where he came back, dropped deep, and had a shockingly heavy touch again. I'm like, bro, sort your touch out. Like you're a technically gifted player. How can you keep having this heavy touch? It really triggers me, honestly. It really does. I think. I'm not sure. I really don't know. I'll have to wait for you guys' ratings for it first before I make my final decision, because I don't know what to do with Ziyech. I honestly don't. Let me go with you first, Shayan, because obviously you're going to give him a rather high rating. So honestly, I want to just hear how you would get to your rating, I guess.
I think it was kind of a weird makeshift lineup today. It was like almost like, just based off the eye test, obviously it's not exactly what we played, but it almost was like Werner, Ziyech playing striker up top together. And I think Ziyech did well. He got the flicks on. He helped make space for Timo based off of the game plan. And to go in the middle for everybody, I will give him a 7.5. That's what I will go down to. But I honestly think he was totally fine, had half decent chances, and I think people are like, they get extremely annoyed about how he only uses his left foot. And I was like, he's always been like this, though. Like, it's like, this is nothing different. We bought this. This is what we were expecting when we bought Hakim Ziyech. But I think 7.5 was fine. Yes, he was underwhelming, and he hasn't been insane under Tuchel. But there has been good improvement under that, and I will take it. And he did it against the defending Premier League champions. So you take it when you get it. And so I think he did everything well. He did great flick-ons to Timo, had some great team play. I just say 7.5 because I'm not going to waffle on about how he deserves anything higher than that.
Fair Pice. What would you rate him as?
Fucking up, yeah. I was honestly going to say exactly the same. I was going to say 7.5. I think 7's a bit harsh. Someone said 7, but I think, he did nearly score the goal. Like, if the guy's not on the line, then it's not, he probably gets higher, but I think 7.5 is fair based off the other ratings. I mean, you can, obviously look at his performance, you can go lower just because he was like pretty much invisible in the first half. But I don't know, like we won, like he still contributed to the win. Like not much on the eye test, but it was still an overall team performance, and he was part of that. So, I mean, I'm seeing some comments saying 8, like that's too high for me. I think 7.5 is probably fair. I think.
I don't know, guys. I don't know. And this whole like, if the guy wasn't on the line, he would have scored. Well, if John Terry didn't slip, he would have won the Champions League in 2008. Doesn't put a Champions League trophy in our trophy cabinet now, does it? Like, what?
Rain tax, mate. It doesn't. It's rain tax.
Rain tax, yeah.
Rain tax.
Do you want to change your profile pic to Thai quick? Because, like, do you know what I mean? I don't know. I would have pushed to 6.5. I don't think it was great, but 6.5 isn't bad. If you, obviously you weren't here for the last few ratings, we gave people 3s and 4s. My first half of Ziyech against Man United was a 2, Cheyenne. So for me to give him a 6.5 is already very generous. But you guys, because of what you said, I'm a push it up. I'm a push it up to the 7 because you both have said 7.5. So I think that an overall gives us a 7, but. Yeah, like I said, I would probably have gone for the 6.5, not because like he was dreadful, shocking, whatever, but not involved enough to be a creative player compared to what Mason Mount did. And that showed, and they played the same position, just opposite side. I know we focused on the left more, and Tuchel even confirmed that post game that we tried to like expose the left or target the left side, Liverpool's right side a bit more, but still try to get involved a bit more. But hey, he was already better against Man United, so if he gets another start, maybe he'll get a 10 next time round. Who knows? We'll see. It's been a significant improvement from last time out for my rating, so, you never know what could happen. You never know what could happen. But as much as Christensen was in a lot of people's minds the man of the match, the man of the moment, and the man of the night, without a doubt, was Mr. Mason Mount. And before I let any of you to say a word, sorry, I have a couple of words to say to some Mason Mount haters. Because the fact that some people still have Mason Mount hating Twitter accounts, and the fact that some people still run around tweeting, all he does is run, is probably more ridiculous than Pele counting goals in friendlies. Because, I mean, that's like, it's insane. You can't just say things like that. Mason Mount probably has the best touch at Chelsea Football Club. Oh, maybe Kai Havertz, but we haven't seen the guy play in so long. Who knows what his touch is? But like Mason, if you compare Mason Mount's control and Werner's control and even Ziyech's control half the time, like it's not even just levels. It's not like it's planets. It's galaxies in between. He doesn't have a bad touch. He doesn't even know how to spell that. Like, and then he scores that a curler like that. And I know he could score more than he does. And I said this in my preview, by the way, if any of you watched it. Because I think Monster said he needs to shoot more, and fully right. But then I also made the point, that's because he plays on the right. And, as much as his left foot is good, it's not as good as his right foot. Would he play on the left, he would shoot more. What happens? Plays on the left, scores a screamer. So you can't, if you're hating on Mason Mount, and I know Thomas does, appreciate you though, because you're still always about, but still, if you're hating on him, it's a load of waffle. It's a load of waffle. He's amazing. I love him. And he's getting a 10. And I don't care what anyone says. And if you guys say anything else, I'm just overrule you. He's getting a 10. All right? But, of course, I still have you, let you have your word. Pice, let me go with you first.
I mean, I'm happy to give him a 10, but he didn't officially get the man of the match. So, like,
yeah, but this is our ratings, not the official ones.
Yeah, no, but I don't think... Do you think he, is the same as Christensen? Like, I don't know,
I would just judging by the fact how much we struggled since he
was very, very good.
Mount.
Like, I think I was
because once Kovacic replaced Mount, we didn't even know how to spell pressing anymore. And this isn't slating of Kovacic at all. It's just not Mount, right? I would have probably taken Werner off and just made Pulisic do the runs. Not in terms of because Werner was bad, but just because I thought Mount was still necessary on the pitch. But hey, we won the game, and that means he got a few less minutes and is fresher for Everton because he's inevitable and undroppable and will start again. So in hindsight, brilliant. But I still think because of what happened after he came off, that makes me say, yes, he was as good as Christensen. Plus, bloody scored.
I think, yeah, I do agree with you. I think we can give him a 10. The only other thing I was going to throw at you is maybe knock Jorginho down to the same as Kante as a 9 and then put Mount as a 9.5. But if you really want the 10, then I can go with that because obviously he was probably next up for man of the match after Christensen, and he did score a screamer, and he was very, very good. So I'm up for either. Those are my two solutions, I guess. If you want to knock Jorginho down, put Mount as 9.5, or you want to both do, Mount Christensen 10, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with either.
Good, because we're sticking with the 10. Cheyenne, obviously, I mean, in your eyes, he was even man of the match, probably over Christensen. So, you probably will agree with me, but let's see. Go on.
Yeah, as you said, I agree with you. The only comment I'd make is how excited would you be if Mason Mount makes an OnlyFans based off of the comments you were discussing?
not that excited unless he posts unless I have to pay to watch him score screamers every week, because that's fine. Don't really want to see or know anything else, but hey, you do you, bro.
Yeah, 10 for me. Yeah, simples.
Exactly. There you go. Let's go with that. And then Timo Werner, who did everything but score today, got very unfortunate, obviously, with the offside decision. I was just actually sent something. Let me check this out just quickly, what I was sent here, because I was sent some sort of explanation of why this apparently happened. Saying, Laurenz, apparently the rule is handball is under the armpit. The sleeve idea is probably just guidelines for the ref, but I can't fix proof of that idea. So either they all don't know, because my logic of it was, right, as far as I was aware, the rule changes in autumn was that they measure it by the sleeve, which also meant that you're actually allowed to touch the ball with that part of your arm as long as it's with the sleeve. Now, my first instinct was Nike, Chelsea, just make a sleeveless kit for next season. But also, yes, it's weird, but hey, if they go with that, we can't have a go at the ref, have a go at the rules, right? And also, I still think, maybe actually I still want to give Kante less than Jorginho, actually, because we did in the end anyway, because he should have given a penalty away. We were lucky not to get a penalty. I don't understand how they were not given a penalty. Like, it was close, but it wasn't like a yard away. It was 2 or 3 yards, 4 yards of Kante's arm, and he had his arm up there and just got hit. Like, what are you doing? Very fortunate for us to not get the penalty. Anyways, Werner got unfortunate last season. Even by last season's rules, it wasn't an offside. Beautiful ball by Jorginho. Takes it past Alisson, puts it in. Had another few moments where maybe could have done a bit better. That kind of overhead assist kick by Aspie. Difficult, but a Werner in top form probably scores it as well. And he had one other moment. I think one other moment where he maybe could have done a bit more, but I was very happy with him today. And obviously, a lot of you guys know that I'm usually very harsh on Werner, and I do admit that. I do fully admit that I have been very harsh on him. But if he plays like today, and Pi said it in the beginning of the stream, if he plays like today on a regular basis, even if it's not scoring, I'm not going to complain. But of course, we also can't play like we did today against very many teams, because very few teams give us that space in behind that we try to exploit today. But he did so perfectly well. He won a lot more duels and duels in the air than I thought he would, whether it was against Fabinho, whether it was against Kabak or anybody else. He did a lot better at it. He stuck at it. He kept working hard. He worked his socks off. And I don't know for rating. Between 8.5 and 9. Because I still think he should have scored one of the other 2 chances that he had. I don't know. Help me out, guys. Let me go with you first, Pies. What would you rate him? Because he was good. He was good, but I'm not sure whether you can give a striker that doesn't score and doesn't assist or doesn't win a penalty a 9.
But then at the same time, we've got Chilwell, who's a 9, and I think Werner made more of an impact on the game than Chilwell did. So,
but shouldn't the striker have more of an impact than a left wing back just in the first place?
I think he played very well, though, man. I don't know. I would honestly give him a 9.5. I thought his all-round game was superb. Honestly, I thought he should have had a goal. Obviously, that offside call is just nonsense. Honestly, nonsense. I think that was honestly one of his best games for us. Ironically enough, since Liverpool at home, which was one of his better games as well. I was watching.
No, since Southampton. Since Southampton.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. To be fair, he did score 2 then, but in terms of the opposition, Liverpool, he's played well against them twice now. So honestly, I think he deserves a really high rating today. As you said, he did pretty much everything but score and assist, and he just got unlucky. It's one of those days. The only thing I can agree with you on, maybe putting a little bit of a lower rating, was that chance that he had in the first half where it just came to him. He tried to chip the keeper. I was like, mate, what are you doing there? Like, you've got to absolutely like put your foot through that. Like, it kind of reminded me. Do you remember the Morata one against Arsenal away where he tried to chip?
That was the most obvious chip ever. Man looked at the ball for about half an hour
and he
started chipping it.
Yeah, and he literally like hit the keeper. That was the exact same, pretty much. Except that Werner had a little bit less of a run up than Morata, but still, Werner should be scoring that. So honestly, I think either a 9. I think either a 9 or a 9.5. But because of that missed chance that could have made the game easier, I think a 9 because his all-round play was fantastic, and that's something that we have to give him credit for because we don't say that a lot about Werner. So let's be nice. He did improve today, so I think we have to be nice towards him.
He did improve, yeah. We're not giving him a 3, I'm still thinking more about an 8. But Shayan, hit me with yours, and then we'll find a compromise of us 3.
Unfortunately, after this rating, I do have to go. But basically, for me, I'd say an 8. He missed the sitter. Yes, he scored. He was unlucky, but at the end of the day, he didn't score. And of course, that goal made me very, very upset that was called offsides. I think he was an 8. He played really well, but I think a 9 would be way too big of a stretch because at the end of the day, he didn't score. And he did have chances to score, but he didn't. And I don't think he was quite on the level of players higher than an 8 rating to be warranted giving that. So I'd say an 8 because at the end of the day, if you give 8, well, because Mendy got a clean sheet, so technically he did his job, and Werner's job is to score. So, but he didn't do that. So that's why I'd say an 8. But I have to leave, unfortunately, and I appreciate you having me on for this rating.
I'll just let you run through the subs and Tuchel rating. Just quickly give me ratings for all 3 before you head off.
Sure. The subs were Kai, Christian, and Kovacic. What's like a bog standard rating you'd give to a sub player? A 6?
On a win, a 7, but Havertz doesn't even get a rating. He was on for 2.5.
Yeah, I'd say a 0 for Havertz because he didn't do anything. Christian was he had the really good flick on to Timo, which he could have did something. I'd still say a 7. Kovacic is 7.5 because I think he really helped reassure the midfield. And Tuchel, of course, it's an easy 10 out of 10 for me. Not even a question about it.
Fair play. Shayan, thank you very much for joining. Check out the Next Gen pod in the description below. Subscribe to, obviously, these guys. Check them out. I think we just uploaded a podcast episode with, obviously, Shayan and myself and Lewis yesterday. So even though this was actually recorded even before the Man United game, why not? Check it out. We talk a little bit of the whole Frank Lampard situation, a bit more hindsight than the Thomas Tuchel situation now coming in. Maybe my thoughts on Tuchel would have been even more positive after Liverpool. But hey, we recorded when we recorded it, so check it out. And again, Shayan, really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on. And it was a pleasure also to meet you, Pies. It's a pleasure, and I appreciate you having me on, man. I hope you guys have a good one. See you later.
Take care, bro. Right, so you said 9 for Werner. Shayan and myself said 8, so I'm going to go with an 8.5. Also, Fantasy PGA Tour made a fair point. If we give, as much as obviously Shayan said, he did keep a clean sheet, so did do his job, still, he didn't have much to do. So I do agree. Maybe we should give him a lower rating than that, if that makes sense. But that is the starting 11, who, I can't be honestly displeased with any of these guys. But let's go to the subs. And on these guys, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, we nearly have 300 people watching. Big ups to all of yourselves. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. It would honestly mean the world to me. We're on the road to 10,000 subscribers. Every single subscriber counts. So go down below, smash the huge red subscribe button. Then it turns grey. We all like grey better than red because red's Liverpool, Man United, Arsenal. We don't want that. So just make it turn grey instead of red. That's perfect. So do that. Smash the like button. YouTube loves likes on videos. So how many do we have? Let me check. I don't think we've hit 100 yet. And even though we have nearly 300 people watching. So make sure you smash the like button right now. Let's get to 150 likes right now. That's just 75 roughly more of you. Go down below, smash the like button. Doesn't cost you any money. Doesn't cost you any time. But Pice, let's go to the subs. Starting with Christian Pulisic. And honestly, he was even less involved than Ziyech was.
I honestly didn't rate Pulisic's performance. Like, I know, the other guy said, he had the flick on, but for me, every time... That was
it, though. Yeah, he did have that. That's not wrong.
But every time the ball went forward, I was thinking, not necessarily hold it up because he's a small guy, but I was just thinking get hold of the ball, just win a foul or something. Like the prime Pulisic we've seen in our squad, like before under Lampard when he had that really good run. Do you know how many fouls he won? Like we was comparing him to Hazard. Like he would get the ball, turn, win a foul. Get the ball, turn, win a foul. Get the ball, run, win a foul. Like he was so good at attracting players and winning fouls. But like today and in previous weeks, like I don't know if it's just lack of confidence, lack of minutes, but he just can't make the ball stick. Like I just thought, just make the ball stick. Every time the ball went forward, we was pumping it forward, trying to relieve pressure late on in the game, and he just kept like just not making it stick. And then Liverpool would get the ball and pump it back up out wide, and it was just like, I don't know. I just got a bit annoyed with him. Like honestly, I mean 6 is like the standard rating, but just because of how much he annoyed me, I think 5.5. Honestly, like it wasn't atrocious, but I just think it was less than average from him. I think he could have done a lot better. And like I'm thinking for Pulisic's standards, we have to hold him to the standards we've seen before. Like he has high standards, even though he's still a young player. He can do much better than this.
He has high standards, I agree with that, and he should be held to those. But we also have to say that in the last 10 games, he started 1. And I don't know how many he started recently under Frank. So he's not exactly in the flow of where you'd expect him to be at his very best. Whatever those reasons may be, whether they're genuinely tactical reasons by Tuchel or whether they're decisions like he's not 100% fit, they don't want to get him injured, we want to get him over his tightened muscles and whatever the reason may be, it's still difficult to be at your very best if you're not in a run of games. And even he doesn't even come on in every game. So it is difficult. I think what Shayan said, a 7 is a bit high. I think what you said is a bit low. I would probably go for the average 6, just because, like I said, like you said as well, we didn't see anything from him. I just take the annoyance part out of it because we were already 1-0 up, so I didn't really get so triggered at him. But, if you have anything else to add in terms of, lack of game time or whatever, if you have anything to say on that, why that shouldn't count.
I do agree with you. Like you did say, like obviously it's hard to play well when you're not in the squad. Like that's why I said maybe is it a lack of confidence or a lack of minutes why he's like not playing so well when he does come on for these cameo appearances. So, all right, maybe I was a bit harsh on him, but it just annoyed me when I was watching like on TV. I was sitting there like on the edge of my sofa, like man, come on, like make the ball stick. So it was kind of annoying, but I think if you want to go for a box standard 6, then that's fine.
Hey, and also what Hayden said, let's hit 1 million subscribers tonight. Why don't we? Go on. That'd be great. Don't know how that would happen, but hey, why not? But hey, in the end, all of us, I think a 6 is probably okay. And then going to Kovacic, I think he pushes the 7. He did his job, worked hard, had a little bit of a funny moment with Mane, obviously, hitting the ball in the face, which I like a bit of shithousery. So that itself gives him a 0.5 more. And like I said, I do still think that us as a team overall played worse when Mount came off, but that isn't because Kovacic was bad. It's just because they're different types of players, and I think we needed a bit more aggressiveness higher up the pitch. But what would you give Kovacic? Would you say that 7 that Shayan was handing him is fair?
Yeah, I think 7's fair. Did he say 7.5? I'm not sure. I think he said 7.5. But
I can't remember.
Yeah, I think he did say 7.5 because of how well he held down the midfield. But I think probably a 7 is probably fair, considering he didn't really play that much. So, but when he came on, he did do a good job. So I think a 7 is warranted. I think, yeah. For sure.
Let's give him that 7. And then what about? Kai Havertz just gets a whatever. Can you actually tell me what does that NA stand for when people spell N/A? What does that mean?
It means not available, so like unapplicable.
Oh, there you go. I mean, I knew what it kind of meant, but I didn't know what it was short for, if that makes sense.
Yeah, not available, that's it,
yeah, I think we just have to go with that. It played 2.5 minutes, not even that, right? And like half of that was throw-ins and fouls and whatever, so can't really give him a rating. But Thomas Tuchel, can you really give him anything other than a 10 when you get a win at Anfield? I don't care what their recent home form has been. Like, I don't think we should make that too big of a deal, to be honest. Like, we have to look at the game in isolation because we've played many teams in bad form. Look at Arsenal on Boxing Day. They were 15th. They still battered us. So clearly a team being in bad form doesn't just mean we'll walk over them. That's not how football works. They had players, important players like Fabinho back today. Obviously, Alisson was back in goal, even though he had obviously a few highlights in particular against Man City anyway. He was still back, which is still significantly better than Adrian. Even a bad Alisson is significantly better than Adrian. Diogo Jota came on from the bench at least and even got half an hour, so it's not like nothing. So I don't think we should underestimate how good we were today. And that Tuchel set it up was like, okay, I know I usually want the ball, but let's be a bit more solid at the back. Let's use the pace of Werner. I forgot to mention this. When I saw the lineup, I actually thought it was a false nine, like we played against Spurs. With Werner off the left, Ziyech off the right, like it was in the second half against Spurs, and Mount as a false nine. Wasn't to be, was wrong, but that's what I thought initially. And I don't think Tuchel did anything wrong today, other than maybe taking Mount off. But in the end, again, it worked out. So saved his legs for Everton. So would you give him anything lower than a 10? Because I don't see a single thing that he did wrong.
It's absolutely a 10, and it's absolutely nothing lower. Like, I see someone say, like, Tuchel isn't a 10. You could argue Ziyech should have been given the same treatment as Tammy did and be substituted at half time. But
that is fair.
But he wasn't like that atrocious. Like, he was still involved in the game. Like, he was still a part of the pressing, and that's one thing I want to mention as well. If Tuchel isn't happy with the pressing, especially if they're not getting involved and looking at least good off the ball, like don't matter on it. Like, we're talking off the ball. If they don't look good off the ball, then he's going to take you off. So I think like that's one of the reasons why Tammy did come off in the previous games as well, because like he was just lacking energy for me. I haven't heard Tuchel publicly address why Tammy's come off. I mean, one of the things he did say was he's been a bit unlucky. I mean, I don't know what that means, but yeah, away from that, I think that would be a bit harsh to drop it down just because of that one thing, and I don't think it was a big thing either. No one else was talking about it, so I think a 10 as well. Tuchel has won here for the first time. Chelsea haven't won at Anfield in the Premier League in 7 years, since 2014. So this guy's been here a couple of months with a new squad. Like, how can you not give him a 10? Like, I'm in love with him at the moment, honestly. He's a fantastic manager. He's got us playing the football that I want us to play. Yeah, we're not scoring loads of goals, but we're playing good football. We're very, very good on the ball. And I think the goals will come as we get more chemistry and as the weeks go on. And, Tuchel's got none of his own players, which he's going to get in the summer. So you've got to take that into account as well. So I think the future looks bright, honestly. We've had this before where we've said, oh, yeah, manager's doing really well, he's the next big thing. But like, I'm not putting it out there that he's the next big thing. He's going to stay for 5-10 years. It usually doesn't work like that at Chelsea, but you never know. This guy is a very, very good manager and very good tactically as well. And one of the only Chelsea managers that I've seen that is ruthless, but in a nice way. Almost has that balance between ruthlessness, taking people off, but also having a real, bond with the players. You saw that at full time. He seems to strike the right balance, and I hope that's what's going on inside the club as well. Because, we heard about how Lampard didn't, treat the players well behind the scenes. That's what the Athletic said when he got sacked and came out with that massive article. So, I mean, everything's very, very happy right now. And I'm just looking forward to the future, to be honest. And I hope the fans are as well, because, how can you not be? Like, he's struck the perfect balance.
Yeah, I do agree. I do agree with everything you've said. But I do also, first of all, fair play to Fantasy PGA Tour. Ziyech Pulisic wasn't exactly better. So that is fair enough. I do just want to make the case that not even just in terms of the first half, even after the fact that Callum Hudson-Odoi got subbed back off after half an hour, and Ziyech after having a poor game. Yes, the second half was better, but let's still be honest. A poor game against Man United. That first half was as shocking as you'll get, honestly. To start again is weird. And I think in terms of players playing on merit, I don't know what Havertz and Pulisic do in training, and I don't know what kind of wizardry Ziyech must be putting off in training to have made this other start. And obviously we're not there in training, but I still don't really understand how Ziyech warranted another start when Hudson-Odoi was taken off in the same game he played. And Hudson-Odoi was better in that game when he was taken back off than Ziyech was against United and today.
Laurenz, but the one thing I want to say is, don't you agree that out of all those players you mentioned, the only one that has that hero pass is Ziyech? Don't you agree? I think that's why he played Ziyech today, because of the high line. And he's probably thinking was, because of Werner's pace, Ziyech is very good at those over-the-top balls. So I think he played him just purely because of the creative aspect. And he did have one really, really good cross that nearly went to Werner. And nearly went. And I know you always say, like, oh, nearly, but...
No.
Like, honestly...
I get it.
Yeah, it's hard. Like, it's hard to explain what his thinking was, because we're not Tuchel. We can only go off what we see, but...
I definitely see that thinking. But don't you think if that was the plan, Ziyech should have stayed a bit deeper than he did for the most part, because very often he kind of ended up almost next to Werner, and he isn't exactly going to play the ball to Werner if he's next to him.
Yeah, again, like that's one of the reasons I was going to say, like, that's kind of what I got a bit confused on, because we did press them really high, so it wasn't exactly like Ziyech dropping deep and playing those hero passes that we know he can play. So, I mean, you saying that, I kind of agree with you now, but I don't know. I just think he did play just because of the creative aspect that, you know, and I know this would be like a little bit of a, you know, oh yeah, but, you know, he hasn't done it yet. But I want to mention still, I know Ziyech hasn't had many really good long shots for Chelsea, but I think it's not long before we start seeing Ziyech take more regular shots. And I think maybe with the lack of goals and with the lack of, you know, shots lately, I think maybe he spoke to Ziyech in training. Maybe he said, you know what, if I play at Anfield, you're going to shoot more. Obviously, he didn't shoot much today, but you never know why a player actually gets that start. You know, it's very, very difficult to tell what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, no, and to be honest, like, I decided let's just give him the 10. I think it's also because I'm getting a bit tired. You know, it's 1 a.m. in the morning here. That's why I'm maybe not quite so hyped anymore. And if we did Tuchel at the start, I definitely would have just thrown out the 10 and not even questioned it. So I'm going to give him the 10. I'm going to give him the 10. But I want to just get one or two more thoughts of yours before we leave it here. Obviously, it is a player rating show, but let's also discuss the game. Did you also think we got lucky with not you know, Liverpool getting a penalty for the Kante handball?
This one I was debating. I think it would have been harsh just because of how close it was. But again, like, we've seen these given.
Maybe I missaw it because I didn't. It didn't feel that close.
The commentators were saying, like, at the start of the season that would have been given, and I agree. But for me, honestly, I hate talking about VAR. I hate talking about decisions unless it's like a tackle. Like I find debating about tackles interesting, like when you watch him back. But anything like handballs and offside, honestly, I just don't like talking about it because I don't know what the rules are anymore. Like, they change every bloody minute, so it's like, for me, it's hard to keep up. Like, honestly, I just watch it on TV and I just, you know, I debate, but I don't really put much thought into it because the rules change all the bloody time anyway. So, like, what's the point? You know what I mean? But
yeah,
no, I think it would have been hard.
You're right. You're right. I mean, Flyer said there was no movement of the hand. I think, well, that's all well and good, but his hand was literally up here. Like, if you put your hand up here and the ball hits your arm, you can't complain at a pen. Let's put it that way. Had we received had Liverpool gotten the pen for it, I don't think we could have like complained much about it. It was unintentionally, that is true, but it doesn't matter. Like, that's not how the rule works, if that makes sense. Kante is too cute to give a penalty away.
I saw that as well.
I mean, Fantasy PGA Tour makes a fair point as well. I wouldn't be totally shocked, and I know refs shouldn't act like that, but they're also humans. I wouldn't be totally shocked if he kind of saw the pictures of the Werner thing in the first half, and even though VAR ruled that, obviously not him, and he's like, yeah, that was a bit harsh, and that maybe, and because it was a 50-50 pen, maybe that's why I didn't give it. Let's be honest, refs are humans. And to be honest, part of why I was so surprised that it wasn't given is because of the whole, you know, let's say drama from the Hudson-Odoi situation against Manchester United. Obviously, so much was said about that, and should it have been a pen, should it not? I was almost convinced that if anything debatable goes to VAR today, we'll come, you know, pull their short straw. But hey, it wasn't to be, and in the end, whether it's lucky or not, the game's done. You know, we can't change it for the Man United game, whether that was at Old Trafford or at Stamford Bridge. You know, different results might have come from both situations. And hey, today it probably evened itself out. And the last thing I want to mention is we gave Christensen a 10, and we fully did, but I think we might not have if Mane just fell over after Christensen kind of ran into him early in the first half. Because if Mane just goes down, that's a definite penalty, isn't it? If you remember the moment.
Yeah. It was interesting. I was thinking like maybe he should have gone down there, but to be honest, I'm glad he didn't, because I definitely think he would have given a penalty just because you know what the refs are like. Any bit of contact in the box, they give a penalty. So it was very, very hard to watch that. I was thinking like, oh no, but to be honest, I'm just glad he stayed up anyway, because Liverpool dive all the time. So and they go down like anything. So I'm not saying it was a dive, but you know what they're like. They go down for anything. So I was happy to see him stay on his feet. But yeah, it would have been interesting if he did go down. Let's just say that.
I think if he goes down, it's definitely a penalty. But it's surprising because I mean I know Mane even from playing in the Austrian Bundesliga, and he was already a dirty cheating rat here. Let alone all the things he's done
Oh
at
my God.
Liverpool. And for him to, yeah, honestly, and for him to not, like, he was the kind of guy to not just dive left, right, and center, but to then pull off the sneaky like kicks that the ref won't see. Obviously, before VAR time. I mean, we still don't have VAR in Austria. Like, don't beat yourself up, even in the highest league. But still, we will next season. Big up ourselves. But anyway, a bit like Neymar has his days where he just starts kicking people, but then also flies around, rolls around like a crybaby, and that's what Mane was here. So I have a deep hatred for Mane, and I was very surprised to this day now, but it kind of gained some respect. But also, I just think he's a bit of an idiot because, to be honest, he just has to go down there. Quite frankly, he just has to. And as much as it's not ideal that football is like that, it still is like that. So I reckon if his team sees that back, they'll be having a go at him for it. And Fantasy PGA Tour is the last comment that I'm going to get to. If anyone wants to drop a super chat before we leave it here, please do so. Supports the channel, but just make sure that I see your message. Or become a member. There's a join button underneath. All the instructions that you have to follow, information is there. But I'm not sure if you've seen the disallowed goal for Fulham, but when you see that, it's again part of why I was surprised that the penalty wasn't given. Of course, offensive handball and defensive handball are viewed differently since VAR has come in. Like any handball in the offensive play rules it out, as we know all too well from that Ajax goal, or go 5-4 against Ajax that wasn't given because of it. But still, because of that, it was still surprising to me. We will, Flyers has said, it will all sleep well tonight, guys. 3 points at Anfield, buzzing. Exactly that. And Flyers has also asked me, just quickly, Laurenz, are you a season ticket holder at your local club in Austria? I am, actually, because it's just €100 for a season. So, do you know what I mean? And I enjoy live football. So I just go there, have a great time. I've been a season ticket holder there, and people have a go at me, oh, you can't have two clubs. Yeah, don't. It's Austrian second division. Like, it's a completely different thing. But hey, I have my season ticket there, have a good time. I just enjoy live football. I sadly do not live in England, can't go to Chelsea week in, week out. Should that stop me from watching live football? I don't think so. But yeah, they are Wacker Innsbruck. Good luck spelling it, but try it. If you go to my Twitter and click on the location, that's the town, and then just you'll find the football club. Anyway, someone asked me earlier, will I ever do a Q&A show? I think Charles it was. I might do. Depending on the international breaks. Actually, last thing, Pice, because obviously, the international breaks are coming up again, and Solskjaer, Klopp, Hasenhüttl have all said they're not allowing their players to go on international duties if they have to travel to countries where, when returning, they have to quarantine for 10 days. I fully agree with it, but I think that's going to be very interesting how that goes, and I hope we do the same. Like, it would be stupid if we allow them to go and other clubs don't, because at the end of the day, that means training, and Tuchel needs to. Like, I don't even want to know how much better we'd be if we got a full 2 weeks training with everyone here.
Yeah, I completely agree. We'd be stupid to do that, like let them go and then have to isolate and stuff like that. So yeah, I completely agree with you. We should follow those other managers, and we need the squad together. So I think those weeks would be good for us. And I hope we don't make a silly decision, just let them go, and then because we don't need to lose players. Like, I know we're doing well right now, but we need the whole squad. We need options, so we need as many options as we can get. Defense, midfield, attack, it doesn't matter where. We need those options. So let's hope we do follow those other managers. I'm sure the club will definitely have a say on that as well. So what the club's like, they're very strong on these things.
For sure. I mean, I don't know the exact list of which countries that would affect and how many of our players that would necessarily affect. Obviously, it's not every player, but interesting, definitely interesting. And I mean, I was already having the same opinions back in autumn when we had 3 international breaks. I was like, this is ludicrous. Like, to have international breaks, mixed bubbles, like, this is ridiculous. Obviously, it didn't actually end that badly, and very few players, at least for us, none, actually caught things. But still, it's a crazy thing that probably shouldn't be done. But ladies and gentlemen, we've had a lovely stream tonight with a lot of viewers. I really do appreciate every single one of you that has tuned in. I massively appreciate Pice obviously coming on again. There's no better day than, chatting a bit of football after Chelsea go away to Anfield to beat them in the Premier League for the first time in, like you said, 7 years, since October 8th or November 8th, one of them, 2014, someone saying in the chat on Blues Fans TV. So it's been a long time. I've had a great time. I'm still buzzing. It's 1 in the morning, 10 after 1 in the morning. I'm tired, but I'm going to sleep particularly well tonight. I'm going to have a great time. Again, Pies, thank you for coming on if you want to say a couple of words, but honestly, today has just been brilliant.
Yeah, it's been a great stream as well. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Hopefully, I'll be back for the next one as well after another victory.
Hopefully.
Yeah, very tired, but I'm also still very happy. Like, I'll probably be watching those highlights quite a few times before I go to bed. So, yeah, I mean, the goal was amazing. I'm just so happy. And if you haven't liked, guys, subscribe, like. We've got a lot of viewers, so make sure you hit the like button. And yeah, just keep doing your thing, Laurenz. It's great to see.
Exactly. Really appreciate. And definitely, of course, if you're free anytime for the player ratings, I love it. So definitely get involved. But again, ladies and gentlemen, if you've come this far, big shout out to you. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you smash the like button. Let's get 150 likes right now. There's still over 200 of you watching. So go down below, smash the like button right now. It doesn't cost you any money, barely cost you any time. Just a simple click of a button. Really helps me out. I'd really appreciate it. Consider becoming a member if you fancy. There's a join button underneath. But yeah, I will leave it at that. Thank you guys for watching. Up the Chelsea. What a night. And I'll see you next time.